Welcome. This is the part 2 for Linux for hackers from basics till advanced. So let's jump into the first topic, which is SSH and remote access tradecraft. So SSH is secure shell, which is used for remote logon into a Linux server. So I have my Oracle VirtualBox running and my Metasploitable 2 VirtualBox which is running, and we will be we will be log on into that SSH session in the remote server, and you can find this Metasploitable 2 in onehub.com. So let's type onehub.com and visit the website. Once you reach onehub.com, search for Metasploitable 2, Metasploitable space 2, and hit on enter, and click on this link and click on download mirror, and your zip file will be downloaded. Metasploitable 2 zip file will be downloaded. Extract the zip file and you will find .vmdk file. So how to import is click on new, then give the name of the virtual machine as Metasploitable 2, and select the operating system as Linux, and the distribution, I'll tell you the distribution later. First select operating system as Linux, right, and the distribution as other Linux. So let's I'll show you that later, but select RAM as 1024 MB or 1 GB, and 1 CPU is enough. And so it was Linux, and the distribution is other Linux, and OS version is 64-bit. And now this is where we are installing the virtual hard disk. Let's click on new and add, and let's go to the extracted file. Let's click on VMDK and choose that, and click on this and choose that, and I'll not be showing that, and click on finish, right. Click on finish, and your Metasploitable 2 will be installed in VirtualBox, and click on start, and Metasploitable 2 will start running. Now we need to find the IP configurations for Metasploitable 2 box. Let's do ifconfig first. So it's connected on a bridge adapter, so we will be using WLAN 0 as the subnet of WLAN 0 is where the Metasploitable 2 network exists. So we do a Nmap scan on that subnet. So let's do -sn for no port scan, just the host discovery, and let's type in the particular IP range or subnet mask, and we get 3 IP address. So 172.20.10.13 is the IP address of the Oracle VirtualBox network interface card. So virtual NIC, and that is Metasploitable 2. So once we have got the IP address of Metasploitable 2, we can SSH into that. But let me show you a tool called Hydra, which is used to brute force services username and passwords. And let's type some of the common known usernames. I'm just typing a random usernames, and I'm adding the actual username and password, which is msfadmin. So msfadmin is the username and password for SSH logon session into Metasploitable 2 server. So now let's save it. Now let's use a tool called Hydra. Hydra-L for specifying the username word list, and -p for specifying the password word list. So we're using the same word list, and we do SSH :/172.168.13, which is our target IP address, and it gives error because this is used for SSH sessions which are modern SSH sessions, but this uses a different HMAC is what the error is indicating. So there is some key error, no match for method MAC. Now let's check whether we are allowing the port 22. Are we allowing outgoing connections for the port 22? And let's do it again, and we get the same error. Maybe if we look into Google search or AI mode search, we might get a bit of info on that. Let's try it with actual username and password, which is msfadmin. And msfadmin. And let's type SSH at the end, and we get the same error, no match for method MAC algo client to server. So the MAC method algorithm is a mismatch between the client and server. So it uses so the client uses a different HMAC and server uses a different HMAC. So if we specify the options, can we specify the options? Let's legacy options. Let's see. Let's copy these options and let's try to specify it, but I don't think that would work. But I think it will error out the same error, and so now we have one option, like using Google search or AI mode search for getting the exact command or changing our configurations. So let's just copy this error, and we can do a simple Google search, or just go to the Google's AI mode, and let's paste it, and let's click on enter. There you go. We have got a solution, and it's message authentication code algorithm. There's a mismatch in that. So they have given a permanent fix, like changing the .ssh/config, and we can try that. Let's change that, and let's add this following entry. Let's specify the host as well as the HMAC version. So there is another option as well, but we'll try this method first. and we added the HMAC for that. And now let's do Hydra tool, and we get the logon credentials. So let me show you how to do it with the word list. Before that, we read what is this. The error is happening because your SSH client and the target server can't agree on a message authentication code algorithm. Your SSH client is configured to use only newer secure algorithms, HMAC, SHA-2, 256, etc., while the server is running an older SSH configuration that only offers deprecated weaker MAC algorithms like HMAC SHA-1, HMAC MD5. So by changing our configurations, if you connect to this server regularly, add it to your local SSH configuration file. So by changing this configuration, we will be able to do a brute force using Hydra. So let's clear this MSF admin and let's specify word list, and let's check if any other usernames do exist. Username and password do exist. Oh, so we had to specify it as capital L because capital L and capital P because we need the word list, not the exact string word list. And there you go, there is another username and password, which is user and user, and we have our well-known credentials, which is MSF admin and MSF admin. So once we brute force with the Hydra tool, now we can log into this using the credentials, using particularly SSH, and we can try using this method as well. It will give us the same output. So we can specify SSH at the end as well as in the format given here. And now let's log on to SSH, a server on the remote host, which is metasploitable2. So let's do SSH-O, and these are the legacy options, right? We usually do SSH user at host. So once we do SSH user at host, we get a password prompt, and once we enter the correct password, we log into the system. But here we are using some legacy options because there is a mismatch in public key accepted algorithm, host key algorithm, as well as key algorithms used. So once we hit enter, we get a password prompt and we are logged in. So the general syntax is SSH user at host, username at host, and host may be some IP address or a particular domain. And we can specify the options because it is a legacy, because it is using legacy SSH service, and that is why we specify the options. Otherwise it is not needed on the latest systems. So let's do cat/etc/ssh, or let's do cd. Let's catch this directory first, and let's do ls. Let's do export term is equal to xterm, so that we get nano compatible as well as clearing the screen. Let's do nano sshd underscore config. Let's edit this SSH daemon configuration file, and instead of password authentication, we disable the password authentication. We set it as no, and we will try to log in using by changing the authorized keys for this user by adding our public key to this to the authorized keys of this SSH user. And so it was just that we didn't change it because we had to use sudo. So sudo writes gives us the ability to change SSHD configuration. Let's do cd.ssh, or let's first restart SSH service by sudo hc init.d ssh restart. Let's do nano home in the home folder .ssh and authorized keys. So we have already added a public key, but I'll show you from scratch how to generate the key and add public key to the particular authorized keys and log in using our private key. So let's do SSH-keygen and the target algorithm, which is RSA. And we enter the file to save the key, and we save the private key as key and public key as key.pub. Let's do cat key.pub. This is the public file which we need to add in the authorized keys. So that will let us to log in without a password authentication in using our private key. So let's paste this, and let me bring this to a single line, and let's Control O, Control X to save and exit. And so we will do a logon using just the private key. Let's first change mode 600 for the public key or the private key. For both public and private key, we can change the particular read-write permission. It has to be 600. Anything higher than that, like 644, 677, will be a bad permission set. So let's do SSH minus I hyphen I key and the same command used to log in. So this time we are not prompted with the password. We directly log into the system. So this is a persistence method which I just showed you. This this comes under ethical hacking methodology. If you want to learn ethical hacking and red teaming, do check out my red teaming videos on Linux, web, Active Directory, and Windows. So let's do SCP, secure copy. So first let's do ls to list the files. We have a file.txt. Let's remove it first. rm-f file.txt, and let's do ls again. So we just have vulnerable in this folder, and let's do SCP now. So secure copy. So copy a file to a remote host over SSH. This also uses SSH. So let's do SSH-I key, and let's do cat file.txt first. Let's view what's there in this. So line 1 till line 22. Let's do SCP file.txt, and let's do -I key. And I don't think this will work because I'll just tell you the syntax first. So SSH file name user at host colon the path to the file to save it, and then there is connection closed, so no matching host key type found. So I think we have to, I know it that we have to give the legacy options. So yeah, we'll copy this legacy options and we'll paste it over here, and now it will be able to transfer it. Yes, we have transferred it. And to verify, we will do ls. We have the file.txt. We'll do cat file.txt, and we view the content. So this secure copy protocol uses SSH to copy a file to a remote host. It is just specifying the file and msf admin user at host and colon the path to the file and the name of the file file.txt. So this is how to use secure copy, and we have used our private key with the -i option and given the legacy options. So now let me show you how to add a particular public key to the authorized keys without logging into the system. Let's do SSH-Copy-ID and let's specify -i key and let's give the legacy options and user at host. So I think there is a problem with this. We have to change the SSH configurations. So let's do export term is equal to xterm, and let's do ls. Let's do cat authorized keys. So let's remove this key first. So let's do echo blank string into authorized keys. We'll overwrite the authorized keys with the blank string, and we do cat authorized keys. We just get a line with no string at all. So permission denied public key, so that is our error. So what we do is because we don't have authorized keys now, we do cd /etc/ssh, and I think we have created a file, but we don't need this file. We have to go to cd/etc/ssh, cd/etc/ssh, and we catch this directory first and we do ls. We have sshd_config. Let's do nano. Let's do sudo nano sshd_config, and we had disabled previously password authentication. We have to enable it again. We have to enable it as yes, and let's restart the SSH service using sudo /etc/init.d ssh restart. So this will essentially restart the SSH service, and once you restarted the server, you hit that again. You hit the command again, and you'll get a password authentication, and once you enter the password, the key will be successfully added. Number of keys added is 1. Now let's do cd home directory /.ssh, and let's do cat authorized keys. So earlier it was a blank string. Now we have successfully added this SSH RSA key, public key. So this was using SSH-Copy-ID. So push your public key to a remote host's authorized keys. That is the command. So now let's move on to our next topic, which is bash scripting essentials. I have 2 scripts. I won't be going through the details of bash scripting. I'll just tell you what a script is. So script is a way of automating the commands. So command is an automation of GUI, and bash scripting is an automation of commands. So whatever Linux commands you have learned till now, you can make it as a single file called script, and you can execute that script. So how to connect using telnet and FTP, that I had missed out. So I'll just show you how to connect. So FTP space IP address space port. Port is 21 for FTP. If it is using a different port, so you can do that. You can do a different port as well. We have to allow outgoing connections for FTP. So that is using uncomplicated firewall, and the rule is added. We'll enable it for telnet as well. So once we do FTP space IP address space port, we'll get a prompt. Let's do msfadmin and msfadmin for username and password, and let's do ls. So there was a bit of thing which was going on. It was entering extended passive mode, so I tried disabling the passive mode as well, but that didn't work. So I tried dir as well. I don't think it is working as intended. So let's do control C to, let's do passive off, and let's try dir again. And let's exit out of FTP. Let's do control C or control shift C, whatever the configuration is there for your interrupt command, and let's do FTP again, msfadmin. So this is how you successfully log in into FTP. So it is entering into extended passive mode. We do active on and passive off. So that's an invalid command. So that's still an invalid command, and we do passive off and passive mode off, fall back to active mode. Let's do ls. So it is saying that command was successful. Consider EPSV, extended passive mode. I guess it's that. So we'll not be going into that, and let's do telnet now, and let's do telnet space IP address, and let's do login as msfadmin and msfadmin. Let's do an ls, and we get the files. Let's do cat file.txt, and we get the contents of the file. Let's do exit. So this was all about telnet and FTP. So now let's go into bash scripting or shell scripting. So let's do nano script.sh. So this is the first line. This is an automation for Linux commands. So we do shebang. This is pronounced as, this is read as shebang, and that is hash and what do you call this, that character, and /bin/bash. So for specifying that this has to use a bash script, and essentially shebang loads the bin bash as an interpreter, and bin bash executes from this first line, line by line. So bin bash, we do it and it keeps on executing, but because the first line is a comment, it won't execute the first line. So we are doing for I in sequence 1 to 254. We are performing IP as 172.20.10.1 till 254, and we are pinging it, and if the ping was successful, we are displaying that the IP is up. So this is the particular script. You go through this basics of shell scripting. If you want a video on that, please comment in the comment section, specify it as shell scripting. So let's give execute permission to the script, and let's run the script. So you'll see immediately that 172.20.10.2 is up, so which is our local host IP address. So let's do Control C to quit, to interrupt the command. And now let's do nano script 1.sh. I have another script for example. So this is how you declare a variable. Name is equal to double quotes world double quotes. So that is to specify name as a string variable. And if -f, that means if the file exists, which is /etc/passwd, then echo that file exists. So it will check the entire Linux system for etc passwd, and it will echo if the file exists. And while read -r line, which is to read a line from and echo that line from the list.txt file. So list.txt is redirected to this particular command. And for f in star.txt, that means if there is a file, for every file name in all the txt files that are present, do echo this particular file name, not the contents. And let's run this script. So we can first change mode +x for giving the executable permissions. And let's do a different way, which is bash script.sh. This is also how you can script1.sh. This is how you can execute the script. So the file exists, which is etc/passwd, and the contents of the file, as well as the two file names. So this is how you can perform a shell scripting operation, or you can create a shell script and run that. So now let's jump into the next section, which is reconnaissance as well as enumeration. So I'll not be going through a lot of enumeration, but reconnaissance I'll be covering. So let's do nmap -p- and -- min -rate is equal to 5000, and let's give target, which is 172.20.10.13, which is our metasploitable 2 server's IP address. So this particularly does a full TCP port sweep, and it is extremely fast because we are specifying the minimum rate at which it has to run. And we save it in an nmap format and call it metasploitable 2 underscore ports. So -on is to output in nmap format. We made a mistake. We don't need this bracket. Yeah. It's showing some errors, but hopefully it should run as intended. And we get a list of open ports like FTP, SSH, TELNET, DNS, HTTP as well as HTTPS. So these are the open ports. Now utilizing these open ports, what we do is we specify it in -p option and do a service scan on this. So let's do 21, 22, 23, 53 and 80 and 443. So that's all the cover, that's all that is open. Actually 443 is closed, but we ran nmap scan on that as well. So -sc for default scripts, or let's not do -sc, and let's do -sv for service version enumeration, and let's do -ss to maintain stealth scan or syn scan. And let's not use the -a option because -a is for aggressive mode or all scan. Let's do -oa, which is output in all format, and specify the name of the file as metasploitable2, and let's give our target, which is 172.20.10.13. So these two are the only nmap commands which are required, this one and the previous one, for enumeration. The rest is all based on your convenience. So specifying different options is all your convenience. And so we get the VSFTPD version, OpenSSH version, and TELNET, and Apache HTTPD version. So we can now do search exploit on this. So what search exploit does is it does offline search of the exploit DB databases for known CVEs. So CVEs, I mean common vulnerability and exposures. And once we do search exploit space software and version, we get these exploits. So it has a Metasploit exploit. I won't be showing you how to use Metasploit to exploit this vulnerability, but you can check how to use Metasploit and Nmap in my red teaming playlist. So let's do cat metasploitable.nmap, and we get the same result. So it is saved to this file. Now let's do ls, and we get all this metasploitable2.gnmap.nmap.xml as well. Now let's do directory or file brute forcing on a web target. Let's do gobuster dir-u to specify the URL, and -w to specify the word list. So we specify 172.20.10.13 and the word list of raft word list, and -t as threads, which is 50. So once this starts brute forcing for directories and subdirectories, we will get a lot of data, that is subdirectories. And we get a lot of files, and we get their status as well, HTTP status, that is Gobuster directory brute forcing, -u to specify the target URL, and -w to specify the word list which we have as user share checklist discovery and web raft that word list. And we can click on this and we will get the home page of Metasploitable2. So we'll get phpMyAdmin. We get a lot of websites as well, like Mitiliday and DVWA. So that is hosted on Metasploitable2 server, and so let's do Nikto -h, and target we specify as 172.20.10.13. So this will do automated web server vulnerability scan. So it will do a web server vulnerability scan, which is like just like Nessus, and it will do a vulnerability scan of the web server, and it will give the CVEs. It will give particularly any missing headers. It will specify these are the missing HTTP headers, and it will specify if there is any vulnerability in the server itself. So we get this data and we can use this for software supply chain to exploit software supply chain vulnerability. There you go. It just showed CWE 552 for this PHP info.php. So we can just look into that vulnerability or weakness and try to exploit it. So that was about Nikto, and let's do Whatweb. So Whatweb essentially fingerprints web technologies which are in use. So when we specify Whatweb space target, it will give you the particular we got an error, so it was because HTTPS is closed. Let's specify it with HTTP once. So let's specify it with HTTP : and the error will be gone and we don't get any error. So it fingerprints for server technologies like this is an Ubuntu Linux server and the title is Metasploitable to Linux Web Dev and powered by this PHP version, Ubuntu version. It will say that this is an Apache server and it has an Apache server. So that was all about Whatweb and fingerprinting web technologies. Hydra tool I have already showed you. I have demonstrated Hydra tool and we can use that for FTP as well. So it will essentially give the same username and password. So we can use this for FTP login as well. We can use either of these creds. Now let's go to the most important topic, which is Linux-privesc. So I'll be showing you how to do it. I'll be typing out the commands which are used for Linux privilege escalation checklist, and you can do it. You can try it out yourself by doing manually, and I'll also show a automated way how to do it. So to display who am I exactly, we will give the ID command and what I can run as sudo. We'll give the sudo-l command, and to fingerprint the kernel or OS version and check for known kernel exploits, we do uname-a, or we can do cat etc/os-release. And this will check against known kernel exploits. Now let's go to the next one, which is SUID or SGID binaries. To find these binaries and check against or cross-reference against GTFOBins. So this all comes under Linux privesc checklist. And let's type the exact command: find / and -perp for permission, and -4000 and type F for specifying that we need a file. We can also specify for directories, and 2 greater than /dev/null to redirect the standard error to dev null. So this is for SUID. For SGID, we do the same command, but instead of hyphen 4000 we give it as hyphen 2000, and we do hyphen type f and 2 greater than slash dev slash null. So this is how you find SUID as well as SGID binaries, and we have to cross reference that against GTFOBins. GTFOBins is a website where all the particular SUID, SGID binaries exploits as well as sudo exploits, sudo misconfiguration exploits exist. I'll show that in a while. Yeah, this is the GTFOBins website, and we can do control F and we can do find. So find is a command. So for find itself we have SUID and SGID binary exploit, and here is the particular exploits for sudo as well as SUID. We can copy this and run the particular exploit to get elevated privileges. So that is how you privesc into a Linux machine. So let's give the number for this. Let's go to the fourth privesc checklist, which is a writable /etc passwd or /etc shadow. So you can add yourself as if it is etc passwd is writable, you can add yourself as a user by specifying the OpenSSL passwd password, and you can give your own password and add the user and specify the UID and GID as 0 because we need root privileges, and specify bin bash as the particular specify bin bash as the particular shell for that user. So we can check using ls-al/etc/passwd, the same for the shadow file. And let's do the fifth one, which is cron jobs. So to check the cron jobs, we can do cat etc/cron tab. We can also use cron tab -l. So this checks scripts they call for writable paths. So cron is the one which is a job that runs every interval of time, and we can set it for we can set a certain command to run daily, certain program to run daily, weekly, monthly, or every minute. We can specify using cron job. And capabilities. So capabilities are binaries with elevated capabilities or privileges. So to check that, we do get cap -r// 2 greater than /dev/null. So these are the binaries with elevated capabilities. So we have to check for that using this command. So these are all the privilege escalation checklist, and automated way of doing all the above is by running linpiece or winpiece. Linpiece for Linux and winpiece for Windows, but in Windows obviously the Windows privilege escalation checklist will be different than Linux, or we can even run lin-enum script. Now let's do SSH, and let's go to uname-a, and we do export term is equal to xterm. And let's go to linpiece. So linpiece GitHub repository will be the first choice, and let's click on that. So Linux privilege escalation or awesome script, that is linpiece, and we can use this curl command to directly run the script, download the script and run it, or we can locally transfer it to a particular box. Now if you do that, there is some SSL certificate errors. So let's do cd/temp and run the script again. I mean run the command again, and it won't run. So we can download linpiece.sh into our box and transfer it to the Metasploit 2 machine. I'll be demonstrating it just a second. In just a second, and first let's download linpiece.sh from the releases page. So if we go to releases page, we will find linpiece.sh, and let's click on this, and this will be downloaded. Let's delete the previous one. Let's delete this as well. Let's close this. Let's delete both of this, and let's click on linpiece.sh, and linpiece.sh will be downloaded. And let's do cd /downloads. And let's do python 3 -m http.server port 80. And let's do curl, and let's do 172.20.10 2:80/linpiece.sh. We can use -o option to specify the output file, but I think there is some firewall issue which is not allowing incoming connections. So let's open up another terminal, and let's do sudo ufw allow port 80. We are just allowing the outgoing connections. We have to allow incoming connections as well. So let's type in my Kali password. Just for demonstration, I'll show whether this will work. And yeah, this doesn't work. This doesn't work as intended because it is an incoming connection, and we have to allow both the incoming as well as outgoing. We have to allow incoming connections, right? For this purpose, we have to now go to UFW and allow port 80. So let's do if config and verify our IP address. Yes, it is 172.20.10 Let's copy this IP address. So yeah, it's the firewall issue, right? And yeah, it's just trying to connect to that particular IP address, and we have got the culprit, which is our uncomplicated firewall. So let's do sudo ufw allow port 80 for both incoming as well as outgoing connections, and let's control C this, and let's restart the Python HTTP server, and let's do duplicate, and link piece will be downloaded. So let's give it an executable permission using chmod +x linpiece.sh, and let's execute it using /linpiece.sh, and this script will start running, and it will do all the automated privilege escalation techniques or privilege escalation enumeration, and it will give us the output. So let's deny port 80, and let's just allow it for outgoing connections. So we can look into this particular output. So it will start running a lot of commands, and it will give us the output in displayed in this particular format. So red is where you need to check it, and green is where everything looks fine. So we move from the top, right? And red or yellow is for potential 95% or more potential privilege escalation path. So let's go a little below and check. So we can see here is the cron jobs which are running, and if any cron job is specified, it will be displayed. So we can see processes, crons, timers, service, sockets, all that info. We can see cloud, we can see container, and let's go down the terminal, and let's see what else we find. So high risk root owned and writable Unix sockets and dbus configuration files, and network information for all the interfaces. DNS configuration, host files information, which is cat etc host, and active ports, listening ports, bind address, IP table rules, which is for firewall, and we find this information as well. So user with user ID 0 in etc possibility, which is root, and logged in users, SSH session, screen session, tmux session, last logons and login history. So everything will be logged. Auth.log for SSH sessions, and the software information, which are the useful softwares. And NFS export files. So the no root squash, which is enabled, and we can able to exploit using NFS. We can do privesc using NFS. And that said, we'll move further down. And we found a MySQL version. We found exploit db file to exploit MySQL on Metasploitable 2. So we have a reference, and these are the private key uh, of the metasploitable 2 machine, and our public key which we have added to the authorized keys. So everything will be displayed, and SSH configuration. So SSH keys were found. So SUID permission check for any easy privilege escalation as well as exploits. So SGID permission, file with interesting permissions. So that is the heading, and just look into all of this. So SGID permission, and files with SGID and SUID permissions. And next, let's go further down, searching root files in home directories, and this shows linpiece.sh and group writable files. And just go through this and try to find a privilege escalation path, just like we found for NFS. And let's clear the screen. So the useful resources which are there, which I want to mention, are GTFOBins for SUID and SGID, as well as sudo misconfiguration privilege escalation paths, bandit, as well as hacktricks.xyz. So he has documented in very clearly the things which are related to pen testing, red teaming, as well as ethical hacking. For Linux Windows privilege escalation, you can look into that. And bandit for practicing your Linux commands, and explainshell.com, which explains a particular command, the options as well as the arguments. So it has explanation for all of that. You can just go to explainshell.com and you can paste your command and get the explanation. And next is Linux journey. So this is by labx.io. You can practice the Linux commands in this. So these are some of the useful resources. Please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and for more contents, comment what you need next. And thanks for watching. Please like and sub. Do check out my red teaming videos, and